is Capri Anderson. I'm 12 years old, turning 13 in 4 days. I go to James Thorpe Elementary and I'm in 7th grade.
Okay, so if I ask you what truth is, tell me your definition. For example, if you came home late and I ask you where you had been and said, now tell me the truth, tell me the definition of truth you live by.
Truth is when you're not lying, you are always honest.
Okay. You hear teachers talk about knowledge. What does knowledge mean to you?
Knowledge is like information that helps you learn, get you smarter every day.
Who has power? What kind of people or things? Who has power?
Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, mayors, stuff like that.
What is your definition of rules?
Rules is like the law. You have to live by them and follow them so you don't get in trouble.
What is important to know in order to get you through life?
There are lots of things that you should know to help you get through the life. For example, you should learn how to read and write, or you should learn business or other stuff like that. More? I'm not sure. There's a lot of stuff.
So, teachers are always giving you advice. What advice would you like to give them?
Don't put so much pressure on the children because they need time to think. And if you put too much pressure on them, it'll make them panic.
What would you like to tell your principal?
I would like to tell him to lay off. He's always expecting the children to do more, but their brains, they're still growing. So they can't learn more in just a couple of days. It takes them time.
Of all the things you have done in your life, what is the absolute most favorite experience?
Going to Deep River Water Park.
Why?
Because all the water everywhere is fun, and there's lots of water slides and rides and all that other stuff.
What is the neatest thing about your age? Tell me what makes your age so special.
I get to go to places where younger kids can't and do other things that younger kids can't.
What kinds of things?
Well, now I can walk to the store by myself. And I get to go on rides on a park that other little kids can't go on because of their height or their age.
So what's the worst thing about your age?
Puberty.
Can you explain?
Because then you start getting acne and periods and all that other stuff.
What else makes being a 7th grader so difficult?
All the pressure that the principal puts on you to do high on the ISAT test and become an 8th grader. Like, you always get worried that you're going to fail, have to do 7th grade over again, or go back to 6th.
Okay, not saying you ever feel bad, but if you do, what do you do to help yourself feel better?
I read a book.
What other things do you do?
I like to sing when no one's around or play my game.
Of all the people in the world, who would you like to meet and why?
Barack Obama.
Can you tell me why?
Because he's the first black president and because I think he's pretty cool.
Very good. So that's the last question. Thank you. Tell the camera bye.
My name is Jayani Howling. I'm 13 years old. I go to James Thorpe Elementary School and I'm in the 7th grade.
If I ask you what truth is, tell me your definition.
Well, my definition of truth is when you're open and honest with others and communication. It gives you a chance to show your feelings and express yourself.
You hear teachers talk about knowledge. What does knowledge mean to you?
To me, knowledge is power, and knowledge is knowing what you need to do in life.
Who has power? What kind of people or things?
So, to me, I think the person that has power the most is God, because through the power of God, you could do anything. I think that the president and the first lady have power, and I think that people who do what they need to do, I think that they have power.
What types of people have power in your life?
My parents have power. Mayors have power. First Lady, Barack Obama has power.
What is your definition of rules?
My definition of rules is following what you need to do, even when you don't want to do it, because you're not going to like every single rule that you get, but you still have to do it in order to succeed in life.
What is important to know in order to get through life?
I think what is important to know is the basics, like, how to, read and how to write and stuff like that.
Okay. Teachers are always giving you advice. What advice would you like to give them?
Well, I would give the teachers the advice of letting the children, once in a while, and they can, lose control over it.
What would you like to tell your principal?
I would like to tell my principal that I am very appreciative of everything that he's done for me and my school, and that even though he can be tough sometimes, it's for the best, and he just wants us to do well.
What advice would you give your principal?
Well, the advice that I would give my principal is to, help the students more. I know he helps them now, but to help the students as far as, encouraging them instead of, telling them what they need to do all of the time, because sometimes that could cause kids to,
Of all the things you have done in your life, what is your absolute most favorite experience?
My favorite experience would be when I went to Key Lark Cove with my former best friend. We had a very great time there. We went on all sorts of water slides, and it was really fun.
Speaking of friends, if I wanted to be your friend, what qualities would you want me to have?
I would want a best friend to be truthful and someone that I can trust, someone that's caring, and if there are certain times where I need to break down or cry about something, I want that best friend to offer her shoulder so I can lean on it.
What is the neatest thing about your age? What makes your age so special?
I think what's so special about my age is that there's definitely more freedom, and people start respecting me more. They treat me more like an adult.
What's the worst thing about your age? What makes being a 7th grader so difficult?
The worst thing about my age is that 13 is still kind of naive. So, although people treat you like an adult sometimes, it's sometimes they don't include you in on things. So.
Not saying you ever feel bad, but if you do, what do you do to help yourself feel better?
Well, usually if I'm down in the dumps, I usually just cry, take my moment to cry about it, and I know it doesn't sound like the most adult thing to do, but I just believe that if you let all your emotions out, you're not just a wimp. You're expressing yourself and you're being yourself.
Of all the people in the world, who would you like to meet and why?
Of all the people in the world, I would love to meet this famous deaf star. His name is Sean Birdie. I would like to meet him because I watched a show with him in it, and sign language is like so cool. I'm actually learning it.
All right, so that was my last question. Thank you. While interviewing these two young ladies in middle school, the first theory that came to mind was Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I remember the second girl that I interviewed mentioned that one of the worst things about being in middle school is, your body is changing, starting your menstrual cycle, and one of those needs that Maslow discussed when it comes to middle school students is having what they need in the bathroom in order to feel sufficient or feel safe. So it's interesting that was what she mentioned about the worst thing about being a 13-year-old. Another thing was morals. When I asked them about what it means to be truthful, and then the second girl particularly, her response made me think of Piaget's theory about developmentally, like what are their morals? Like the girl also mentioned God as being powerful, so I could see that her spirituality had a lot to do with where she was developmentally, and seeing God as something, this entity that's powerful. I could tell that would be a great influence on the decisions that she makes because she holds God in high regard. The other theory was about how girls are encouraged to develop relationships of attachment. The second girl that I interviewed again, she mentioned how one of the best experiences she had was with a best friend that was no longer her friend. So that made me ask her the question about what she thought a friend was. And having someone who was trustful and honest, someone that she could count on and lean on when she's feeling sad, was what she considered a good friend. Overall, this experience was very refreshing because honestly, I've never wanted to teach middle school, but after my shadow study and interviewing these two young girls, I very much so would like to teach middle school and continue to learn more about them.
Hey, hey, teach me how to dug it, hey. They be like smooth, what? Can you teach me how to dug it? You know why? 'Cause all the girls